Chapter 1: The Paper Ring. The boardroom smelled like polished wood and old ambition. Nicholas sat stiffly at the far end of the glass table, dwarfed by its sheer length and the silent presence of three lawyers in crisp navy suits. He looked painfully out of place, 23, too young for this room, too exhausted to care. His father's funeral had been 3 days ago, and the suit he wore now, the same charcoal one he'd worn at the service, still bore a faint scent of roses and ash. It didn't quite fit. The shoulders sagged, the cuffs hung too long. He didn't fix it. Let them see the cracks. A silver folder slid toward him. "Mr. Villani, your father's debt reached over $7 million prior to the acquisition," said the lead attorney without looking up. "The only viable path forward is the proposed arrangement with Mr. Duval's firm." Nicholas leaned back, arms folded. His mouth twitched in an almost smile. "You mean the only path forward where I conveniently end up in a legal, romantic farce?" The attorney cleared his throat, ignoring the sarcasm. "It's not a romantic arrangement. It's a contractual union, a merger of sorts. The estate stays intact. The company assets remain under your name for legacy's sake, and Duval Corp absorbs the liability." Nicholas tapped the folder once. "And all I have to do is marry the man who annihilated my father's business. Charming." The door opened with a soft click. Nicholas looked up, and there he was. Adam Duval didn't belong in the realm of messy emotions or last-minute deals. He was sleek control personified, tall, broad-shouldered, not a strand of his black-silver hair out of place. A three-piece charcoal suit hugged his lean frame, and the watch peeking out from his sleeve probably cost more than Nicholas's entire ruined apartment. His face was carved from stone, strong jaw, high cheekbones, sharp blue eyes that seemed colder than the marble floor beneath them. "Mr. Villani," Adam greeted, voice low and smooth. Nicholas leaned back farther in his seat. "Oh, fantastic! The executioner arrives." Adam paused beside the chair opposite Nicholas, his expression unreadable. "I'm not your executioner. I'm your insurance policy." Nicholas snorted. A silence stretched thin between them, filled only by the sound of pages flipping and tension thickening. One of the lawyers began reciting terms, but Nicholas wasn't listening. His eyes stayed fixed on Adam, assessing, searching for even the smallest trace of guilt or empathy or anything at all. There was none. And yet, Adam wasn't cruel. Not openly. He never once raised his voice or threw barbs. He just stood there. Patient, professional, cold. When the lawyer finished, Adam finally sat. "You don't have to agree, but if you don't, the estate goes to auction. Your family name gets sold piece by piece, and the staff your father kept on, they lose everything, too." Nicholas flinched. "You can hate me," Adam added, almost gently, "but the reality doesn't change." Nicholas stared down at the pen offered to him. He picked it up. His hand trembled when he signed. The wedding happened hours later. Not in a chapel. Not in a garden. Not even in a hotel. It was a cramped, windowless legal office lined with outdated certificates and a faint smell of printer ink. 2 witnesses. 1 camera. 0 fanfare. Nicholas stood beside Adam in a black turtleneck and a gray coat borrowed from Rena, his only friend still speaking to him. Adam, as expected, looked pristine, formal, untouchable. The officiant read the scripted vows without inflection. When it came time for the ring exchange, Adam slid a simple silver band onto Nicholas's finger. The metal was cold, too large like everything else. Nicholas hesitated before placing one on Adam's hand. Their fingers brushed. He hated that his chest tightened from that alone. "You may now." The officiant paused, clearly uncertain whether to instruct them to kiss. Nicholas stepped back without a word. Adam didn't comment. The ride to Adam's estate was silent. A sleek black car whisked them through the city, past glass towers and flashing billboards. Nicholas leaned his forehead against the window, watching his own reflection flicker between shadows. He'd thought grief had an ending, but somehow this felt like the beginning of a new kind of loneliness. The house, if it could be called that, sat high on the hill overlooking the skyline. It was all clean lines and floor-to-ceiling windows, cool tones, stark design, a place built for function, not warmth. Nicholas stepped inside and immediately felt small again. "Your room is upstairs, second door to the left," Adam said behind him. "Mine is across the hall. There's no expectation of anything else." Nicholas turned. "Not even dinner and a show first?" Adam's lips twitched, maybe almost a smile. "I'll have the kitchen stocked with anything you prefer. Valerie, my secretary, will get your dietary notes. Oh, great. A secretary to manage my diet. So romantic. I'm trying to make this easier for you. Nicholas turned away. You can't. That night, Nicholas wandered his new room with numb fingers. It was beautiful, in an empty way. White sheets, a wall-mounted bookshelf, a desk untouched by human presence. He sank onto the bed and stared at the ring on his finger. Then a knock. He looked up. Adam stood in the doorway, holding a porcelain cup. Nicholas raised an eyebrow. Is this poisoned? It's tea, Adam said simply. Chamomile. Nicholas took it out of pure spite. Their fingers brushed again. Adam didn't pull away immediately. You don't owe me anything, Adam said softly. Nicholas's laugh was bitter. I'm your corporate accessory, Duval. I'm the price you paid for a clean PR campaign. Adam didn't answer. He simply turned, walked to the door, and said, without looking back, Good night, Nicholas. The sound of his name in that deep voice made something twist in Nicholas's chest. He set the tea on the nightstand and waited until the hallway light disappeared. Then he lay back and stared at the ceiling. His chest ached with something he couldn't name. Grief, rage, emptiness, and somewhere beneath it all, fear. The real kind. The kind that whispers, no one is coming to save you now. He rolled to his side, curled into the borrowed pillows, and buried his face in silence. When the first tear fell, he let it, because no one was watching. And for the first time in his life, he was married. But he had never felt more alone. Chapter 2. The Glass Wall. Nicholas was already up before the sun rose, not because of habit or ambition, but because he couldn't sleep. The tea from the night before had gone cold on his nightstand. The silence in the room felt oppressive, too pristine to breathe in. And so he pulled on a hoodie, shoved his feet into slippers far too soft for his comfort, and padded through the house like a ghost. The kitchen was empty, but not untouched. A plate sat on the counter. Toast, perfectly browned. Eggs over easy, which he hated. A small note tucked beneath the edge of the plate, in crisp handwriting. You missed dinner. You shouldn't skip meals. He didn't touch it, didn't toss it either, just stared at it for a long while before retreating to the study. Nicholas spent the next few hours combing job sites, his laptop balanced on his knees. He'd been top of his class in economics, interned in Singapore. His father had raised him to be a name. Now that name felt like poison in his mouth. Every application he sent out was either rejected within minutes or ignored altogether. He tried under a fake name. He got one callback. Then someone made the connection to his last name and the interview was canceled within an hour. He was toxic. And not in the fun, self-aware way. In the reputation-destroying PR nightmare kind of way. At noon, Valerie called. Your new phone will arrive today, she said. Mr. Duval thought it was time you stopped using a cracked screen relic. I didn't ask for a new phone, Nicholas snapped. You didn't ask for a husband either, but here we are, Valerie replied dryly. At least this one delivers breakfast. Nicholas hung up. He found the phone an hour later, resting on his nightstand. Matte black, sleek, untouched. A sticky note stuck on top, this time messier handwriting. No tracking, no monitoring. Yours alone. He didn't want to admit the warmth that sparked in his chest at the thought. He left the phone there, untouched, like a strange gift from a ghost he didn't believe in. 2 days later, Valerie showed up at the estate with a rolling rack of clothes, a team of stylists, and an earpiece in her right ear. I'm not going to prom, Nicholas protested as she shoved him into the dressing room. You're accompanying Adam to the Horizon Gala. Valerie replied without emotion. Either you show up looking like someone worth marrying, or the media's going to have a field day. Nicholas hated how right she was, so he let them fuss. Let them adjust lapels and tame his curls and rub cologne on his neck. When he stepped out wearing a midnight blue tailored suit, even he had to pause. He looked like he belonged. But when he stepped into the limo beside Adam, who looked like he belonged on the cover of some business mogul magazine, he felt the wall rise up again between them. They barely spoke on the ride. You don't have to smile, Adam said at one point. Nicholas glanced at him. I wasn't planning to. Adam looked out the window, unfazed. Just don't flinch if I touch your arm. People will notice. Nicholas held back a laugh. God forbid we damage the illusion. The event was held at a rooftop venue downtown, sleek and gold lit, with glass walls on all sides that reflected the glittering city. Music hummed low beneath the sound of soft chatter and expensive laughter. Waiters glided past with champagne flutes. Nicholas felt eyes on him the moment they walked in. Whispers followed them like a ripple. The husband. The scandal. The boy from the broken empire. Adam's hand hovered at the small of his back. Not touching. Just there. Like an offer. Nicholas stepped forward without taking it. The first hour passed in stiff smiles and short answers. Nicholas sipped his champagne too fast and ignored the cloying sweetness. He didn't belong here, but neither did he belong anywhere else. He was starting to think that was permanent. "Smile more," a woman whispered in passing. "You're ruining the fantasy." Nicholas wanted to scream. Instead, he drifted toward the far end of the balcony, clutching the railing as if the city lights might offer a map out of this mess. That's when he heard the voice. "Mr. Villani," said a man in a gray suit, camera dangling around his neck. "Jordan Meyer. Mind a quick word?" Nicholas turned. Jordan looked nice, polished, charming, with the kind of face that was born to be trusted, which meant he absolutely shouldn't be. "No comment," Nicholas muttered, trying to walk past, but Jordan stepped in his way. "Just a moment. Off the record, even." Nicholas narrowed his eyes. Jordan lifted his phone. "You've seen this, haven't you?" On the screen was a photo of Adam, older but visibly younger, smiling beside a striking woman with golden hair and an emerald dress. "Clara." The headline read, "Cold bed, cold vows? Sources say Duval's heart still belongs to his ex." Nicholas's stomach dropped. "She was here earlier," Jordan whispered. "I think it's clear who he really wanted at his side tonight." Nicholas shoved the phone away. His pulse roared in his ears. Faces blurred around him. Laughter felt pointed, cruel. Suddenly, the tailored suit felt like a costume. The whole thing, a farce. A very public, very humiliating one. He left his champagne glass behind and walked straight out the side door. The rooftop of the building next door was quiet and dark, apart from the city glow. Nicholas sat on the edge of a bench beside a potted tree, fingers clenched into fists. He felt stupid, like a kid pretending to be an adult, like a doll in someone else's playset. He'd known this marriage was fake. He'd accepted it, but now the world was laughing at him for even daring to hope it might be something more. He didn't hear the footsteps until Adam appeared beside him. Adam didn't speak, just sat on the other side of the bench, jacket unbuttoned, cufflinks loose. His tie was gone. He looked tired. "Why did you follow me?" Nicholas asked without looking at him. "You disappeared. You could have let me stay gone." Adam sighed. "Do you want out?" Nicholas finally turned. His eyes were wet, furious. "Why do you even care?" Their eyes met. Adam's answer came slowly, carefully. "Because I married you," he said. "Not for business, but to protect you." Nicholas blinked. His throat tightened. "What?" Adam leaned forward, elbows on knees. "Your father made terrible choices, but he kept your name out of most of it. If the estate went into legal seizure, you would have been dragged through the courts. The press would have shredded you. I knew I could make the story disappear, if you were under my roof. My name." Nicholas stared. "So this was your pity project?" "No," Adam said quietly. "This was my choice." For a long time, Nicholas said nothing. He watched the lights flicker on the horizon, felt the ache behind his eyes begin to soften into something else, something terrifying, something like trust. He didn't answer. But when Adam stood, Nicholas followed. And when Adam opened the car door, Nicholas got in, and neither of them said another word the whole way home. But that night, for the first time, Nicholas picked up the tea Adam left at his door and drank every last drop. Chapter 3. The Cherrywood Room. Nicholas didn't tell anyone why he started going to Adam's office, not even himself. Officially, he claimed he was bored. Unofficially, he wanted to get under Adam's skin. Privately, he didn't want to keep floating through life like an ornamental vase, expensive and untouched. Useless. The building, Duval Corp headquarters, was a monolith of glass and steel, too modern to feel human, just like its owner. Valerie greeted him on the 42nd floor with a fake sweet smile and a tablet tucked under one arm. "Welcome to hell, darling. Don't touch anything without gloves." "I thought I was here for lunch," Nicholas said flatly. "You're here because you want to prove something," she replied. "Now follow me and try not to cry. I eat the weak." Her desk was a hurricane of color-coded chaos. Nicholas scanned it once and muttered, "You're kidding. This is an actual battlefield." Valerie handed him a stack of folders nearly as thick as his forearm. Start with the Duclair account. Don't mix the invoice tabs or Adam will combust. Nicholas raised an eyebrow. Are you sure I'm allowed access to any of this? You're married to the man, she said. Might as well earn your allowance. He hated how fast she saw through him. But he worked. And for the first time in months, it felt good to do something. Breakfast with Adam began as a silent, almost comical ritual. They'd both wake early. Nicholas would shuffle into the kitchen wearing ridiculous socks and a hoodie that slipped off one shoulder. Adam, already dressed and composed, would slide a plate toward him without a word. They'd eat in silence. Forks. Sips. Occasionally a cough. Then one morning, Nicholas sighed over his eggs. Adam glanced up. Not to your taste? No, Nicholas said. Just thinking. That's dangerous. Nicholas almost smiled. I'm debating whether to throw this fork at your face or finally thank you for the tea. Adam paused. Then, I prefer the second. Nicholas chose neither, but the next morning he made toast for both of them. It was a start. Rena arrived unannounced on a Thursday afternoon. She strode into the foyer in high boots, sunglasses, and the energy of someone ready to interrogate a crime suspect. Nicholas had barely opened the door before she pushed past him. Okay. Where is he? The mysterious Mr. Duval. Show me the crypt keeper. Nicholas groaned. Rena, don't. And then Adam appeared at the top of the stairs. He was barefoot, sleeves rolled, no tie, reading glasses perched low on his nose. He looked human. Rena blinked. Her lips parted. Adam said nothing, simply nodded and turned toward the study. Rena turned to Nicholas with wide eyes. Okay, he's hot. I will physically remove you, Nicholas muttered. I thought he was some ice cube in a suit, but that was a brooding husband moment. I felt tingles. Nicholas grabbed her elbow and dragged her to the kitchen. Don't make this. Weird. Rena leaned in. You like him. I do not. You like him. I said, he made you breakfast this morning. You like him. Nicholas shoved a croissant in her mouth and walked away. That night, Adam gestured toward a side hallway Nicholas hadn't explored yet. There's an old study. It's not used anymore. Thought you might want your own space. Nicholas raised an eyebrow. You're giving me an office? A room, Adam clarified. With a door you can close when I'm annoying you. That was oddly considerate. The study was smaller, warmer, cherry wood paneling, soft gold light, a window with a view of the city's quieter side. Nicholas ran his hand over the polished desk. There were notebooks, pens, a bowl of mints. Later, someone knocked gently. It was Adam, holding a plate. Cookies. Nicholas stared. Are these poisoned? They're oatmeal. You're avoiding the question. Adam smirked. Consider them a peace offering. Nicholas took one. You're lucky I'm a sucker for carbs. He didn't say thank you. He didn't need to. He stayed in the cherrywood room for hours that night, reorganizing files Valerie sent him, texting Rena, chewing pens. The cookies were gone by midnight. Days passed. Breakfasts got longer. Silences became filled with shared looks and small comments. Adam started asking how his work was going. Nicholas started answering honestly. And then, Adam told him a story. It was late. The kitchen was dim. Nicholas sat barefoot on the island counter, eating leftover tiramisu straight from the dish. Adam leaned against the fridge. She and I weren't in love, he said suddenly. Nicholas looked up. Clara? Adam nodded. It was a merger more than a relationship. Two families, old money, old obligations. We were teenagers when it was proposed. We tried to make it work. It didn't. Did you care about her? Adam was quiet. Then, in the way one cares for an echo. Familiar, but not lasting. Nicholas set the spoon down. She seemed convinced you were incapable of love. I probably am, Adam said softly. But I didn't want that for you. Nicholas blinked. What? I didn't want you trapped in something like that. I thought if you hated me, at least it would be honest. You'd be free. Nicholas didn't respond, because his heart was doing something dangerous. The next day, Clara showed up at the office. Nicholas saw her from the end of the corridor, strutting in like she still owned the place. She wore green, of course she did, and carried an aura like bad perfume. He ducked behind a corner but caught the tail end of her voice. You think he likes you now? He's not capable. He never has been. You'll see. Adam said nothing, but Nicholas heard the silence loud and clear. He stepped out, fists clenched. Is there a reason you're still here? Clara turned. Ah, the charity case. Nicholas walked forward, slowly, calmly, then slapped her across the face. The entire lobby froze. Valerie gasped audibly. Clara staggered back, touching her cheek. "You stay away from him," Nicholas said, voice shaking. "I don't care what history you think you have. He's better without you." "Better with you?" She spat. "I never said that," Nicholas replied. "But I know he deserves peace. And so do I." At that moment, the elevator doors slid open. Adam stepped out. His gaze swept the scene. Then he looked at Nicholas. Not with anger, not even surprise, just quiet concern. "Let's go home," he said gently. Nicholas didn't hesitate. He followed. That night, Nicholas stood at the threshold of Adam's bedroom. He wore sweatpants, a loose t-shirt, hair damp from a shower. There was a strange, nervous energy buzzing beneath his skin. Adam glanced up from the armchair beside the bookshelf. "Everything okay?" Nicholas cleared his throat. "Just for appearances. Press might be watching. Safer if we're seen sharing a room." Adam said nothing for a moment, then nodded. "Of course." Nicholas climbed into the left side of the bed without asking. The sheets were cool, linen soft. The room smelled like sandalwood and something faintly herbal. Adam stepped in after him and placed a long pillow between them. Nicholas blinked. "A pillow wall?" he asked. Adam adjusted the blanket. "You said just for appearances." Nicholas leaned over the wall of fluff, smirking. "Coward." Adam glanced at him, deadpan. "Strategist." Nicholas chuckled, turning off the lamp. The room dimmed into gentle quiet. Outside, the city hummed. Inside, Nicholas stared at the ceiling and whispered, "Thanks for the cookies." Adam didn't reply. But Nicholas felt the pillow wall shift slightly toward him, and he fell asleep with a smile. Chapter 4. The Tea Ritual. It started with a cup of tea. At first, it was routine, a quiet offering left outside Nicholas's door each night in a white ceramic mug with a tiny note, "Sleep well." And Nicholas pretended he didn't look forward to it. He would open the door when the house had stilled, when the lights in Adam's room were already off. The mug would be warm, the tea gently fragrant, lavender, chamomile, occasionally ginger when Valerie had overworked him. The ritual became a tether in the silence, and one night Nicholas opened the door early. Adam stood there, about to knock. They both froze. Early delivery," Adam said, lifting the mug. Nicholas raised an eyebrow. "Trying to seduce me with herbs?" Adam handed it over. "You're hard enough to handle without insomnia." Nicholas took a long sip, hiding his smile behind the rim. From that night on, Adam started bringing the tea inside. Sometimes he stayed, sometimes not. But when he did, Nicholas would sit cross-legged on the edge of the bed, hair messy, hands animated as he launched into his daily monologues. And then Valerie tells me the quarterly reports are color-coded, but not in order. It's chaos. It's like office Sudoku. Adam leaned against the desk, arms crossed, listening. Also, Rena is trying to get me to start a blog. She says it's healing and good for branding, which feels ironic since my brand is currently corporate arm candy. "I prefer delightfully acerbic companion," Adam offered. Nicholas paused. "Was that a compliment?" "Don't let it go to your head." They shared a look, and the look lingered. The first time Nicholas got jealous, he didn't recognize the feeling at first. They were at a meeting with a high-profile investor, Julian Hart, who was handsome in the glossy magazine cover way. Polished jawline, twinkling eyes, designer charm. Julian laughed at something Adam said, too long, too flirtatious, and rested his hand on Adam's forearm. Nicholas stiffened. Then Julian turned to him. "You must be the famous husband. Adam's lucky. If he ever gets tired of this corporate life, I'd be happy to take him off your hands." Nicholas smiled tightly. "He's married," he snapped. "Happily. Try again." Julian blinked. The room went silent. Nicholas grabbed his tablet and stalked out. Later, in Adam's office, Adam found him hunched on the couch, arms crossed, glaring at a fruit bowl like it had personally offended him. "Was that jealousy?" Adam asked, amused. Nicholas flushed. "No. The tea was too hot this morning. I'm just grumpy." Adam's lips twitched. "You slammed a door." Nicholas buried his face in a cushion. "I hated his hair. That's not jealousy. That's taste." Adam didn't press. But the next night, the tea came with a chocolate biscuit and a note. "You were still my favorite today." Nicholas didn't stop smiling for an hour. The peace fractured when Mr. San came to visit. He arrived in a pressed suit and expensive cologne, shaking Adam's hand like they shared a secret. Nicholas stayed back in the hall, pretending to be on his phone. "I heard you canceled the Tokyo conference to stay behind," Sang said softly. It's unlike you to prioritize someone temporary. Nicholas froze. Inside the room, Adam didn't immediately reply. I'm just saying, Sang continued, voice low but cutting. He's not part of the long-term plan. Don't lose sight. Nicholas turned away before he could hear Adam's response. His chest ached with something that felt like shame. He told himself he didn't care, that it was always a contract, that Adam was just being polite for appearances. But the lie had started to rot inside him. That night he pretended to be asleep when Adam brought the tea. The next day he left for the office before breakfast. And the day after that, he worked through dinner, claiming fake meetings, ignoring Adam's quiet knocks. By the third day, Nicholas had a fever. He blamed the rainless humidity, the recycled office air, the emotional whiplash. His body ached. His head spun. But he refused to go home until Valerie physically shoved him into a car. You look like a Victorian orphan with consumption, she snapped. Go, rest, or I'll call your husband. Nicholas groaned. Don't you dare. She had already texted. Adam was waiting at the door. Nicholas blinked in surprise. Don't you have a conference call? I canceled it. You canceled a global conference call? Adam didn't answer. He took Nicholas's arm and guided him to the couch like he weighed nothing. I'm fine, Nicholas muttered. You're burning. I always burn. Adam placed a cold cloth on his forehead. You're delirious, Nicholas coughed. I still look better than Julian. Adam chuckled, soft, fond, and tucked a blanket around him. Then he did the unthinkable. He read to him. Adam's voice was low and steady, drawing out the words from an old book in the cherrywood room. Nicholas drifted in and out of sleep, warmth pooling in his chest despite the fever. He woke later to find Adam still beside him on the floor, back against the couch, head leaned back, fingers curled loosely around Nicholas's hand. Their hands twined. Nicholas blinked at the ceiling, eyes hot with more than sickness. He looked at Adam, peaceful and tired and far too close, and whispered, Why do you make it so hard to hate you? Adam didn't stir. Nicholas held onto his hand anyway, and for once let himself believe this could be real. Chapter 5, The Fire Within. The flames didn't begin with smoke, they began with silence. Nicholas woke to his phone buzzing violently against the nightstand. Half asleep, he squinted at the screen. 27 notifications, then 52, then over 100. Missed calls from Rena, Valerie, and, unexpectedly, his old university professor. Texts ranging from, Are you okay? To, You need to see this. He sat up in bed, heart already thudding in his chest. The first video clip autoplayed the moment he opened a link. It was Adam in a boardroom. His expression was unwritable. His voice clipped. Nicholas could hear the word marriage in the background. Then, public relations are about optics. If we keep the boy close, they'll stop digging. The footage cut to a blurred image of Nicholas laughing at a gala. Then a spreadsheet appeared on screen, doctored, unverified, suggesting Nicholas's name was linked to shell donations and offshore holding firms. A caption followed, Duval's deception. Marriage as a mask for millions. Nicholas felt the blood drain from his face. He didn't feel himself rise. Didn't register walking barefoot into the hallway until he heard Adam's voice downstairs. Calm, measured. The estate had become a war zone. Cameras flashed through the gate's iron bars. Reporters screamed questions. Someone banged against the front door. Valerie stood by the staircase, phone glued to her ear, issuing orders like a general under fire. Nicholas descended. Adam looked up. Their eyes met. You knew this was coming, Nicholas said quietly. Adam didn't answer right away. Tell me it's fake. It is. But it looks real. Adam's jaw tightened. It's Clara. She's behind it. I have people working. You should have told me, Nicholas snapped. You should have trusted me. Adam stepped closer. I was trying to protect you. Nicholas flinched. Don't you dare use that excuse again. Adam's hands curled at his sides. It's not an excuse. It's what I do. I handle things before they reach the people I care about. The words hung there. Nicholas blinked. I can handle fire too, Adam, he said. Stop shielding me like I'm something delicate. I'm not. I've lived through worse. Adam took a slow step forward. His expression was no longer unreadable. It was bare. I know, he murmured. And then, without another word, he kissed him. It wasn't soft. It wasn't timid. It was slow, deep, like a vow. Like a confession unspoken until now. Adam's hand slid to the back of Nicholas's neck, anchoring him there, drawing him close. Nicholas gripped Adam's shirt and kissed him back with all the heat and confusion and ache burning through him. When they pulled apart, breathless, Nicholas whispered, "That was overdue." Adam's voice was rough. "Then let's stop waiting." That night, they didn't go to separate rooms. They didn't speak much either, not with words. In the quiet of Adam's room, Nicholas stood at the foot of the bed and tugged off his hoodie, his hands trembling, but sure. Adam reached for him, undoing the buttons of his own shirt slowly, reverently, like Nicholas was something sacred. They met in the center. Kisses trailed down warm skin, hands explored, mouths murmured names. There was no rush. Just heat, softness, the occasional laugh between kisses when noses bumped, and Nicholas grumbled about overachieving CEOs who knew way too well what they were doing. And then, breathless, flushed, wrapped in each other, Nicholas whispered, "I'm here. I'm not going anywhere." Adam responded not with words, but with the way he touched him, the way he held him through every moment, like Nicholas was not a burden, but a homecoming. They didn't sleep much. But when they did, they were still tangled. Nicholas woke in Adam's bed, alone but warm. The sheet smelled like sandalwood and him. His limbs were sore in the best possible way. A soft clatter came from the hallway. He sat up and saw it. A tray. On it, toast, eggs, juice, and his favorite tea. A folded shirt, Adam's, rested beside it. A note tucked under the mug. "Still your favorite. Even on fire." Nicholas grinned and pulled on the shirt, which smelled like cedar and something unnamably Adam. He was halfway through the toast when his phone rang. "Rena," he answered on speaker. "Oh my God," she screamed. "You finally did it." Nicholas winced, nearly dropping the tea. "Good morning to you, too." "Don't pretend you don't know what I'm talking about. It's in your face. You're glowing. There's a whole photo of you on the balcony from last night, looking like a man who's been— Oh, wait, Valerie just sent me a better one. Oh my God!" Nicholas peeked out the window. There were indeed paparazzi on rooftops. Valerie texted next. "Tell Loverboy to wear sunscreen. You're practically radioactive with post-coital happiness." Nicholas laughed until his eyes watered. Later that morning, Valerie and Rena launched into overdrive. Clara's scheme unraveled like cheap ribbon. Turns out Jordan, the journalist, had been paid under the table for months. Rena found the wire transfers through some totally legal hacking methods, while Valerie cornered Jordan in an elevator and filmed him confessing on camera. By afternoon, the scandal was dead. By evening, Nicholas was trending for a new reason. Power couple bright. That night, Adam sat beside him on the couch, tea in hand. They didn't say much. Didn't need to. Nicholas leaned his head on Adam's shoulder, watching the lights flicker outside. "I really do hate you less now," he whispered. Adam smiled into his hair. Progress. And for the first time, they watched the fire from inside it, unscorched, unafraid, together. Chapter 6. The contract we made ourselves. The fall of Clara came with the sound of clicking handcuffs and a press conference that shook the city's social elite to its core. It was poetic, really. For weeks, she had spun narratives, whispered to tabloids, manipulated headlines, until Valerie and Rena dismantled every thread with surgical precision. Jordan's confession, recorded on a shaky phone camera in a high-rise elevator, aired across networks. The world watched as the mask slipped. Slander, fraud, manipulation of evidence. Clara was arrested in her penthouse, escorted out still dressed in pearls. Jordan, stripped of all credibility, vanished from every major outlet overnight. Even his smug bylines disappeared, replaced by apologies and editorials denouncing his work. And in the strangest twist of fate, Nicholas and Adam, the couple born of paperwork and obligation, became a sensation. Photos of them together, heads leaned close, laughing softly on balconies, began to circulate. Memes bloomed, headlines shifted. From business to burning, the accidental romance that became real. But none of it touched Nicholas the way it might have once. He had learned to live behind glass. Now he felt something like freedom, until the envelope arrived. It was crisp, sealed, delivered directly to the estate with a small card that read, "Per Section 8C of the marital agreement, in light of the exoneration and completion of PR objectives, Mr. Nicholas Villani has the right to terminate the marital contract without penalty, effective immediately and at will." Nicholas read it twice, then a third time. Adam found him standing in the hall, holding the paper like it was burning. Neither of them spoke. Adam reached for the document, eyes scanning, expression locked in a familiar, unreadable calm. But Nicholas saw it, just beneath the surface. The flicker of panic. And that was what broke him. He folded the paper, placed it in Adam's hand. "I need to go somewhere." And then he left. No explanation. No bags. Just a car and the driver and a quiet instruction. The cemetery sat on a quiet hill outside the city, framed by low trees and a view of nothing but stillness. Nicholas hadn't visited in months. Maybe longer. He knelt between the headstones, brushing off leaves and soil with the edge of his sleeve. His mother's stone was clean, still elegant. His father's more worn, touched by time and rain. He sat between them, hands resting on his knees, and for the first time in a long time, spoke. "I thought you gave me away," he whispered. A breeze passed through, light and soft. "I thought when I signed those papers, I was just finishing what you started. Being traded off, packaged." His throat tightened. "But you were trying to save what little you had left. Maybe I was angry because I never believed I could be more than what people expected of me." He looked up, eyes glinting with something new, something calm. "I was wrong." He stood after a while, legs stiff from kneeling, and placed 2 white chrysanthemums on the grass. "I thought I was sold off," he said one last time, voice firmer now. "But somehow I found a home." It was evening by the time he returned. The house was too quiet. Nicholas found Adam on the balcony, staring out at the skyline, a soft breeze tugging at the hem of his shirt. The annulment papers sat in his lap, untouched except for the faint creases at the corners where his fingers had curled too tightly. Nicholas stepped beside him. Adam didn't look at him. "If you want out," he said quietly, "I'll sign it." Nicholas stared at the papers, then at Adam. "Don't you dare." Adam's gaze finally shifted to meet his, and Nicholas took the document, tore it clean in half, and let the pieces float to the floor. "No more contracts," he said. "Just this." Adam reached for him like he couldn't help it anymore, and Nicholas met him halfway. They kissed under the city lights, slow, deep, certain. It wasn't a first kiss. It wasn't even the best kiss they'd had, but it was the most real. And in that moment, it felt like all the rules had rewritten themselves around them. Later, in their room, Nicholas grinned as he unbuttoned his shirt, revealing the soft trail of marks Adam had left the night before. "You better have made the tea," he teased. Adam pressed him gently into the bed. "You will be too." The door clicked shut, the lights dimmed, and then it was just them. Hands tracing old bruises and new promises, mouths speaking names like prayers. Their laughter was quieter now, more reverent, broken only by gasps and soft sighs. Nicholas kissed Adam's scar near his collarbone. Adam ran his fingers through Nicholas's hair like it anchored him. They didn't need words. Just the closeness, the skin, the heartbeat under fingertips. Nicholas whispered, "Don't stop." Adam murmured back, "Never." And in the quiet that followed, wrapped in tangled sheets and the scent of sleep and skin, Nicholas let himself fall. Not into fear, but into everything. Brunch the next morning was chaos. Valerie arrived in oversized sunglasses, wielding a mimosa like a weapon. Rena brought 2 bags of pastries and declared herself the fairy godmother of gay marriages. Nicholas wore Adam's shirt again. Adam, ever the composed CEO, sat with Nicholas in his lap like it was a normal thing, pressing a kiss to his temple whenever he reached for jam. "You're glowing," Valerie sniffled, "like aggressively radiant." "I didn't cry," Rena whispered, wiping under her eyes. "It's allergies." "You cried when he put sugar in his tea instead of honey," Valerie muttered. "He's grown," Rena shouted. Nicholas laughed, and the sound lit the room. He turned to Adam and mouthed, "Thank you." Adam squeezed his knee. The room buzzed with laughter and warmth, and Nicholas, surrounded by the unexpected family he'd never seen coming, leaned into Adam's chest and smiled. In his heart, he whispered one last truth. "I was just a legal pawn. Now I'm someone's peace, someone's home, and he's mine."